Korean to do. And this is a classic practice. This is our first one of the term. So you're going to have 20 minutes. Now, remember, every time that we practice like this, on the reading test, you have one reading passage with about 12 to 14 questions for 20 minutes. Okay? And then you have two reading passages after that with about somewhere 24 questions or more and for 40 minutes. Okay? Whenever we practice for 20 minutes, you need to think of yourself, think that you're right here on the test, okay? And this is important because what happens is if you quit early, like let's say it's 15 minutes and you're done, and you move on over here, do you get plus 5 minutes over here? No. Okay, you don't get that time over in the other section. And so you never, ever, ever want to quit early here. You want to use the full 20 minutes, even if it's easy, great. Kiss the computer, right? And double, triple check and make sure you got 100%. There's a bigger reason too. There's another reason, huge reason. If you are unlucky, which most of us are, you might get another 2 reading passages on the test, another 24 questions for another 40 minutes. Hey, Jim. Okay? And that means that one of these goes to your score and the other one does not. The other one goes to research. Okay? So one of these goes to your score, you don't know which one. The other one goes to research. And that means that this one always goes to your score. So that's why it's even more important that you always spend the full 20. Don't finish early. If you finish early, double, triple check. Because you want to get 100% here because you don't know which one of these will count towards your grade, okay? So, Jerome, one more time. Yeah. They might take this one, or they will take that one, but they don't take both. And they don't look at your score and give you the higher one, right? It's for research. They don't tell us their process at all. Yeah. So you're paying $170 to do research for them. It's not fair, right? It sucks. And it's an hour and 40 minutes, right? That's what you're looking at normally. 1 hour, 40 minutes of reading. Most people get this one. If you don't, and you just have 60 minutes, then you're going to get the long listening. But we'll talk about that later. Okay, not right now. Anyways, that's why it's so important to practice this one for 20 minutes. And whenever we do a 20-minute practice, it's because we're trying to prepare for this first passage, and you want to do really well on it, okay? Oh, no, it's different. 2 more reading passages, 2 more reading passages. So 5 reading passages in total, all different questions for each reading passage. Oh, not necessarily, but yes, different reading passages have different levels of difficulty depending on who you are. Some people think one passage is easier than the other. It depends if maybe you know about that field. Like in this case today, Beowulf. How many people saw the movie Beowulf? Right? It might help a little bit. How many people read Beowulf? Okay, well, don't. It's in Old English. It's a hard read. Anyways, so the level of difficulty is kind of individual. All right, any other questions? Okay, now real quick before we start, because this is the first time we're doing it, there are many overall strategies to do the reading passage. One of the favorite ones is this, and this is what I think we should do today. Spend 2 minutes of your time and read the first and last sentence of every paragraph, if you can. And what you're doing is you're paying attention to the structure of the essay, meaning, does it go in chronological order? Does it have cause and effect? What are the paragraphs concerned with? That type of thing. And of course, what are the topics in general? Now, what you're doing is just for 2 minutes, you're reading pretty quickly. You don't stop on a word you don't know. Don't try to figure that out. Just try to get a general overview of what the whole essay is about. And that is done in 2 minutes. And then you have 18 minutes to answer the questions, okay? And this is a popular strategy. It's not the only one, but it's the one we're going to do today, okay? You have 18 minutes to do that. Now, there's another thing that I always do. This goes up to questions 13, right? And can you, let me see. Yeah, everybody, page 186. On page 186, you'll see question 13. And I do this every time. I say 3 minutes, right? I say that. Whenever I say that, what question should we be on? Question 13. The last question, okay? And that's a habit that I want you to form, because sometimes you even need more than that. Sometimes 4 minutes, okay, if it's a bigger one. This one's called a summary chart, and you have to pick the main ideas, okay? What are the biggest ideas from the paper? So 3 minutes should be enough time. So when you hear me say 3 minutes, if you're on question 11, what should you do? If you're on question 11, what should you do? And you hear me say 3 minutes, just guess, right? Guess on the next two, go to question 13, because the last question is always worth more points. This one's worth 2 points. All the other ones are worth 1 point. Sometimes it's up to 4 points. So it's a huge question, and you want to always answer this one as best you can, okay? Because you can really make up your points there. One other thing, because we haven't done this yet, don't stick on a question. If you're spending generally more than 1 or 2 minutes on a question, move, guess, and move on. Why do we do that? Well, here's basically why. Let's say we have 5 questions. If number 1's easy, that's A. Number 2 takes me a little bit of time, okay, I think it's B. Now number 3, oh my gosh, I have no idea. And I'm looking all over the essay and, right, I can't find the answer. And I'm reading it and I'm going, oh, I don't understand it, you know. And it's taking me a really long time. And then finally I get so irritated and I've wasted almost all my time. And I go, okay, D, whatever. I don't care, you know. And now, let's say I don't have any time left. And so I have to guess on 4 and 5 because I barely have any time. I go C, B, you know, something like that. Now, here's the problem. If I spend all my time on number 3 and I did not get it correct anyways, well, that's a big mistake, because maybe question 4 or 5 was actually pretty easy for me, okay? And that's why you never want to stick on one question too long, because one later on might be much easier, and you can always go back if you need to. And that gets me to one final thing I'm going to say. If I were you, every time we practice on a piece of paper, I would write down the number of the question when you make a guess, okay, on your paper. Like, let's say number 3, I don't know it. I write number 3 on my paper. And then that way, when I'm done, if I have extra time, I can go back to number 3 and work on it, okay? Now, this seems kind of obvious because we have the book and it's very easy to see everything. Trust me, on the computer, it's much harder to keep track of the number that you guessed on. And people who take the real test tell me that they sometimes waste a lot of time skipping back and forth between questions. Oh, what was that question? And going back and forth. So the simple thing on a piece of paper, write down the number that you guess, and then that way you'll quickly get back to it. Especially when you're doing a passage like this, you know, the 40 minutes and you have 24 questions. You want to move through them at a good speed, and then at the end you could always go back, okay? And that makes it real easy, all right? Any questions about what we're going to do today? 2 minutes reading first and last line of every paragraph, and then 18 minutes answering the questions. Okay? Any questions? All right, well, good luck. So look at page 182 through 183 and read. Do not answer any questions yet. You have 2 minutes starting now. All right, let's go over this together, okay? And don't worry if you couldn't finish. Up here, real quick, I just wrote the paragraphs and the questions just to prove a point real quick. If you read the first and last line of every paragraph, people like doing that because these questions are in those areas. So you can answer possibly 4 questions from having read the first and last line of every paragraph, okay? These questions are in those areas, in these paragraphs. And then over here, I just put down the other questions that are in each paragraph. And if you notice here, paragraph 4, that's the big one. There are 5 questions that can be answered from paragraph 4. Now, before you looked at the reading, before you looked at the questions, could you know that paragraph 4 is most important to read? No way, right? No way. You never know what the questions are going to be about. That's why you never want to read the whole passage right away, because that's the first thing that comes up on the computer screen, the reading passage and then the questions. Don't read the passage. Don't read the whole thing. Exactly, Jerome. Never. Don't do it, because you don't know which paragraph has the most questions. Jerome, if you spent all of your time reading paragraph 2, you just wasted a massive amount of time because there's only one question, right? But do you see what I mean? That if you spend a lot of time trying to figure out one paragraph, maybe there's only one question about it. And you have no way of knowing that paragraph 4 has 5 questions about it. And maybe you read that a little faster and didn't understand it when, whatever. So you're just wasting your time, okay? That's the theory behind it, you know. The reason why not to read the whole passage. That's one way of doing it. There are very few people who read the whole thing. We will try that strategy for fun, but most people hate it, okay? Yeah, because they run out of time. All right. So anyways, you see there the concentration of questions. All right, let's go over this together. Number 1, which of the following is true about Beowulf, Misang? C, cat, very good. Author did not sign his name in the poem. Where is this answer? Anonymous, right? Anonymous, paragraph 1, line 3. Okay, anonymous. And also, if you looked at paragraph 5, it said the identity is uncertain. So in the first line. So you could have answered this question from that information as well. Paragraph 2, which? Edmund. Question 2, don't be sorry. A, no. Let's look at which in the text, line 4. The tale takes place in that part of Scandinavia from which? This is what kind of clause? Huh? Hold on. What kind of clause is this? Santa Claus? Thank you, Rachel. You get bonus points for laughing. What kind of clause? I think I heard it over here. We know, right? What kind of clause is it, Jewel? Adjective clause with a preposition, right? And sometimes these are tricky, but you have a preposition from which plus a verb, or plus a subject plus a verb. Still, you're going to have a noun over here, and that's what which refers to. This is an adjective clause. TOEFL loves adjective clauses, and we'll go over them next week in the writing section, but for now, it's good to brush up on it. So you see there, from which Germanic tribes emigrated to England. The trick here, if you have trouble with this kind of adjective clause, because usually the preposition isn't there, okay, you can always take the preposition and put it at the end of the sentence, and take the noun and put that after the preposition, and that always will make sense. Right here, Germanic